Vikings, let's win this game. SKOL!
Listen up, Vikings fans. Are you ready to feel the ground shake? In today's episode, we've got exclusive coverage that'll rock the foundations of the Minnesota Vikings. Find out how a young up-and-comer is changing the game in the secondary, while rumors are swirling about a strategic trade that could bring a major talent to the team. Plus, we dive into the impact of a controversial signing on the defensive line that's got everyone talking. And finally, a living legend breaks their silence, demanding big changes from one of the team's brightest stars. What's going down behind the scenes with the Vikings? Welcome! Show your Viking support by reaching 100 thumbs up on today's video. When we think about the Vikings roster, we often focus on the big-name stars, but we forget how surprises can come out of nowhere and shake up the game plan. That's the case with Dwight McGlothern, a name barely mentioned in off-season predictions, but now carrying the promise of a revolution in the Vikings secondary. Context is everything here. After losing veterans like Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin, many wondered how the team would regroup, and that's where McGlothern steps in, like an underdog rising from the shadows. With standout interceptions and a fierce presence on the field, it was a shock to everyone who followed his progress when he went undrafted. But he's always had a chip on his shoulder. The Vikings preseason was the stage where he didn't just show his skills, but made it clear he wasn't there to just fill a roster spot. During training camp and preseason games, McGlothern turned heads. His ability to lock down opponents caught the eye of head coach Kevin O'Connell, who didn't hold back in praising the young corner. McGlothern's story is more than just a roster addition. It's a shining example of how talent and grit can shine in clutch moments. At just 23 years old, Dwight is ready to take on a big role and answer questions about the staying power and effectiveness of the team's more experienced cornerbacks. The competition is tough, with guys like Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah fighting to lock down their spots. But McGlothern's edge might come from his adaptability and game IQ, traits analysts can't stop raving about. The key for him will be staying consistent and seizing every chance, turning every snap into proof of his worth. Get ready, because we've got news that'll leave you floored. The clock is ticking, and the Vikings are running out of options as they face a serious challenge in their secondary. With training camp underway, the hunt for reinforcements is a race against time. After a season where the Vikings defense got exposed, giving up a brutal average of passing yards, the team has lost key pieces and looks even more vulnerable than before. The answer might lie in a bold, strategic move, bringing in a forgotten talent, Greg Newsome to CDU. Greg Newsome, a first-round pick by the Cleveland Browns, saw his role shrink big time last season. That shift opens the door for the Vikings, who are desperate to beef up their defensive line. With the trade window closing and free agent options drying up, Cody Benjamin from CBS Sports suggests the Vikings consider a gutsy move, trading for Newsome. Vikings GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah knows Newsome well from his days in Cleveland's front office. That gives the Vikings a unique edge in sizing up Newsome's true potential, a guy who might just need a change of scenery to thrive. Newsome's career so far shows how wild the life of a pro athlete can be, but it also highlights the chance to buy low and score big. Newsome's situation mirrors the bigger challenges in pro sports. The Browns, choked by salary cap issues and a need to shuffle their roster, might be willing to part with a valuable asset for less than he's worth. For the Vikings, despite the risks of betting on a player coming off a down year, the payoff could be a game-changer for a secondary that desperately needs talent and depth. By looking past one bad season's stats, the Vikings could unearth a hidden gem ready to shine again. Newsome, despite injury setbacks, has shown flashes of the brilliance that made him a first-round pick. With a fresh start in a system that plays to his strengths, he could re-emerge as a key defensive piece. Next up, a blockbuster signing by the Vikings. The Vikings' offseason was marked by a bold, big-money move, signing Javon Hargrave to a 2-year, $30 million deal. The signing came with sky-high expectations, positioning Hargrave as a cornerstone in rebuilding the defensive line. But despite the investment and hype, he was noticeably left off ESPN's list of the top 10 defensive tackles for 2025. That snub sparked debates and questions about the criteria and expectations around him. Things got trickier for Hargrave when he suffered a serious triceps injury, severely limiting his impact on the field. Despite his reputation and the hefty contract, injuries and limited playing time were big factors in his absence from the elite list. The 49ers' decision to let him go also raises questions about his durability and perceived value at the NFL's highest level. Still, the Vikings' bet on Hargrave is a clear attempt to inject proven skill and experience into a defensive line that struggled big time last season. It's a strategy balancing risk and reward, banking on a player with Hargrave's track record to overcome recent setbacks and make a real difference for the team. Adding Hargrave to the roster is about strengthening a critical weak spot for the Vikings, pressure on opposing quarterbacks and stopping the run. His presence is expected to take some heat off other defensive linemen, allowing for better rotation and potentially boosting the defense's overall performance. This move could be seen as either a masterstroke or a risky gamble, depending on how Hargrave responds to the pressure and expectations next season. The debate now centers on whether Hargrave can turn things around and justify his big price tag. If he can regain his Pro Bowl form, he could silence the doubters and prove the signing was worth it. But if injuries keep holding him back, questions will linger about the wisdom of such a hefty investment. Now, a statement involving the Vikings star wide receiver. Randy Moss, an undisputed Vikings legend, recently stepped up to talk about Justin Jefferson's path, calling for major changes and sharing his emotional return to ESPN after battling cancer. Jefferson's impact on the NFL has been massive, cementing his spot as one of the league's top receivers despite challenges in recent years. Moss's take on Jefferson doesn't just raise the bar, it redefines what it means to be a legendary receiver in the NFL. Jefferson, already recognized as a rare talent, has consistently stood out, giving the Vikings a crucial competitive edge. Moss's critiques about his red zone performance point to a specific area that, if improved, could take Jefferson's game to an even higher level. The conversation between Moss and sports reporters blends deep respect with a genuine call for growth and excellence. Jefferson is stepping into uncharted territory this season, serving as the primary target for quarterback J.J. McCarthy. While questions swirl about the Vikings' overall direction, no one doubts what Jefferson brings to the table. Moss's career numbers tell the whole story: 218 games, 982 receptions, 15,292 yards, and 156 touchdowns. Jefferson's got a mountain to climb, but he's moving at a pace that makes it doable. Beyond offering constructive criticism, Moss shared insights about his return to ESPN, a moment filled with emotion and support from the sports community after his cancer treatment. The warm reception from colleagues and fans showed the respect and love Moss has earned over his career, both on and off the field. His comeback isn't just a personal win, it's a symbol of resilience and inspiration for many. This moment of vulnerability and triumph humanizes Moss while amplifying his voice in the conversation about Jefferson's and the Vikings' future. The intersection of his personal fight and professional career creates a powerful story of overcoming odds and lasting impact, resonating deeply with fans and players alike. Expectations are sky-high for Jefferson to answer Moss's call and elevate his game. Meanwhile, the Vikings community watches in awe of Moss's courage and ongoing dedication to the sport and the team. This dialogue between two generations of Vikings talent doesn't just set the standard for today, it lights the way for the franchise's future. The Vikings are navigating rough waters, but with guides like Dwight McGlothern emerging as future pillars, the possibility of Greg Newsome joining the team with a shot at redemption, Javon Hargrave fighting to prove his worth, and Randy Moss's wisdom paving the way for Justin Jefferson. These aren't just headlines, they're the opening chapters of stories about grit and challenges to overcome together. Which story grabbed you the most, and what other moves does the team need to make? Your passion, energy, and loyalty are the heartbeat of Vikings Nation. So, let's keep that energy going. Share this video, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button for all the latest Vikings updates. Stay tuned, SKOL Vikings, let's go!